market hogs. Guys, y'all may have to kind of scoot around the pen a little bit if you're not wanting to cooperate more as much.
What did you make, Hayden? Huh? What'd you make?
All right, our other swine official today is Dr. Mark Denauer. He's our swine extension specialist here at NC State. So we'll ask him to come up and talk to Market Hog. Market Hog class, also a reasons class. So if we're looking to evaluate market hogs, what do we want to prioritize? Muscling, growth, I heard those two. And then after that, we probably want to prioritize bacon. Always prioritize bacon. Leanness and structural correctness. So let's run through the four pigs here. Number one was the black barrel, very long-bodied, the squarest made pig in the class, thickest through the center part of his ham, but he wasn't quite as showy. He was a little higher in his top. He wasn't as tall on the shoulder as some of the other pigs in the class. As far as loin, he probably had the second biggest loin behind the gill. So the other black barrel, the number two barrel, had a wider top, but that pig had more back fat, so that the number one pig probably had the second biggest loin. The number two barrel, black barrel, he was the pounds heavy in the class. He was probably the soundest, big frame. He was more showy, but where he falls behind is he just doesn't have the muscle mass as two of the other pigs in the class. And he's also the fattest. Is he too fat? Probably not, but he gives up pounds of muscle relative to the one and the three pigs. The number three pig is the blue-bedded gilt. She's the thickest pig down her top. So she's the thickest down her loin, not quite as thick as the number one barrel through the center part of her ham. Where she falls apart a little bit, she's so wide over top, but if you look at her underneath, she's actually quite narrow. She comes in at her knee, she's a little buck-kneed, and so she's not quite as sound as she needs to be off her front. And then if you look at her rear, when she tracks away from you, she was quite tight in her hip. And then, I just explained number four. I explained the blue-bedded gilt. Sorry about that. Number three, we don't need to talk much about number three, was the solid white barrel, long-bodied, a little bit straight in his shoulder, had not very much muscle at all. He didn't really compete with the other three. So what's the first thing you need to do in this class? You put 3 on bottom, and just about everybody had 3 on bottom. He's the lightest muscle by far. He's a little bit straight in his shoulder. He just doesn't compete with the other 3. So we put him on bottom and cut it 6. And then the other 3, you got some decisions to make. As far as you're going to prioritize. And so when you guys were talking in reasons, if you saw the pigs, how they are, and you didn't happen to place them right, you still got a good reason score. And so we didn't give you big cuts on these other 3. As a committee, we started with the barrow that was the most square on his feet and legs. He was long-bodied, he was lean, he was the widest through the center part of his ham. If you want to fault him, yeah, he's a little high-topped and maybe he was a little tight out of his hip, but he's very structurally correct. And that was the number 1 barrel. We started with him. And second, we put the pounds-heavy barrel that needed more muscle, but was flexible and stout-made. That's the number 2 barrel. And then in third, we put the blue-bedded gilt, who is the heaviest muscle down her top, but she wasn't as structurally correct or fluid as the other 2 black barrels. So final placing was 1, 2, 4, 3, with cuts of 2, 2, and 6. So we didn't cut you too bad on the top 3 pigs. And then our top recent scores for today.